This is the first webinar of the fourth quarter and also in celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month. And as you can see, the year is going by mighty fast. I'm Olivia Rios, Director of Operations and Programs at the LA Latino Chamber, and I'm delighted to be hosting today's webinar on how to grow your business with AI-powered tools by Google. We will learn updates on AI for your business, and our speaker, who you're very familiar with, Roberto Martinez, CEO at the Braven Agency and Google Digital Coach. So before we begin, let me share a little bit about Roberto. He's a national speaker and a digital coach for California. He was a presenter at last week's U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce conference in Kansas City, and he was recently in Mexico as a trainer and lectured to over 1,200 businesses. He works as a community liaison for Google, where he educates and assists small business owners on how to leverage Google tools and services. He is also an entrepreneur and owns his own digital marketing agency that works with global Fortune 500 companies. Before we begin, we ask you to mute yourself. Be sure to write questions in the chat box. Depending on the time, we will have 10 to 15 minutes of Q&A. So feel free to write your name and where you're tuning in from, because we'd love to hear that. And Roberto, welcome.
Love to know who's in the audience, who's in the group. If you guys want to, you guys could definitely in the chat tell me a little bit about your company. I see a good friend, Cynthia. Cynthia, miss you. Hopefully you're doing well. Always great to see fellow friends joining us for these sessions. This is a really cool session. It's been a long time in the making. Let me share my presentation. All right, everyone can see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. All right. So definitely let me know where you guys are from, what you guys want to gain from this session. We do have about this presentation is a little bit long. It's about 50 minutes, but I'll try to shorten it to give you guys all the great little factoids around AI so that we can have some time for Q&A. All right, Mary, commercial real estate, love it, Sacramento. Anyone else? Anyone else want to tell us where they're from so we could get a better, oh, there we go. Keith Jackson, consulting group, process safety and management. We have Carolina from Hemet working on building private practice. Absolutely love it, appreciate Jimmy Pinto, Synergy Services. All right, this is the perfect time for you guys to work with each other and network with each other as I start in. Okay, let's get started. Let's jump right in. We have about 50 minutes to go through this. We'll leave enough time for Q&A, and let's get right into it. My name is Roberto Martinez. As my close friend Olivia was mentioning, I am the coach for the state of California, digital coach, doing this for 7 years now for Google, both on a national level and on a regional level. I'm also a founder of business. I have my own marketing agency, a software company. So I think I understand a little bit about your journey as an entrepreneur for those of us who are starting up our companies or launching our companies. And so I'm here to talk to you today about an amazing platform called Google Gemini and just the investment Google has done to help businesses like you grow and scale. Luis Mendoza from California SubTech, thank you so much for joining us. Okay, let's start the conversation around 1997. And you guys, if you guys remember in 1997, the world changed because the World Wide Web was launched and search engines was launched. So now you can access the world's information at a couple of keystrokes. How many of us press one lived through that revolution, the internet revolution, and being on the World Wide Web and being able to find as much information as possible? There we go, Keith, myself included. How many of us remember that dial-up, that AOL dial-up? We're all there. And so it just changed the way we got to access information. Fast forward to the way business is done. It also changed business. It allowed you as a small business owner to be able to be found online and prospective customers to buy from you instantly and immediately using Google as a search engine to find your products. It also allowed customers to buy from you in an instant on a click. So it went from being brick and mortar to being online. And what was the next revolution that occurred? You fast forward to 2007, and now we have these little devices. And these little devices changed the way we did business. So now, not only do you have the internet where you could search for anything and everything, you now have information on the go. What does this mean as a business owner? What does this mean as a consumer? The moment you see it, what did my girl Ariana Grande say? I see it, I like it, I want it, I got it. So we get the little phone, boom, we see it, we like it, we want it, boom, we could buy it immediately. And so it changed the way we interact with the world because now we're mobile first. Did you guys know 80% of all business searches start on mobile devices? So the internet changed the way we access information. Search engines changed the way in 2017, the way we search for information, and mobile devices change the way we interact and communicate because we're on the go now and we can easily access information. The other thing that happened is social media came about and they also affected the way we interact with people. These social connections were extremely important for us. And so we now can access information, anything we want, we can find with a couple keystrokes and be able to buy and potentially sell to those customers. We're 2014, 2024, and now we're living through a new revolution, the AI revolution, which is drastically changing the way we do business. Anything you can think and you can imagine, you can create. Doesn't matter if it's images, videos, or audio, you can start changing the way you communicate, the way you create content, the way you engage with prospective customers. And so we're going to touch a little bit about AI and how you can leverage AI as a business owner to grow your business. So what we really want to talk about is how AI has revolutionized the way we live our day to day. We're going to talk about a few people like Nico and Cece. I'm going to talk about how AI has now been able to allow prospective customers to connect in useful ways. It has transformed the life of billions of people. We have new AI solutions where doctors can prescribe and diagnose sicknesses and illnesses regardless of the language, thanks to AI tools that allow you to translate information into the language that you understand. How many of us love using Google Maps and getting from point A to point B? Now we can go from one direction to another, all using AI. How many of us love our YouTube channel and want the best recommendations to know the type of content that's useful for us? So all these are different examples and situations that we leverage day to day that AI has already been infused. The other one is Google Voice. How many times in the beginning, a couple years ago, have we used voice activated call and response? All these things are drastically shifting and shaping the way we run our business. Okay, and it empowers you as a business owner to change the way you're communicating with people. Now you're on the go, you have your mobile device, you can learn information in an instant and create information in an instant. And that connectivity that it provides you allows you to be able to create content, videos, and images in real time. And that allows you to grow and scale your company very quickly. Again, we're going to talk about Nico and what he was inspired by. Nico is the co-founder of Speakio. How many of us have heard of Speakio before? Press one if you heard of Speakio. Oh, there we go. Keith is all over this. Speakio is an amazing company that does public speaking skills. So Nico was, he really had a hard time speaking in front of public and presenting in front of folks. So he hired a coach to help him with his public speaking skills. And he invested a lot of time and energy. But what he also realized is like, you know what? If people have problems with public speaking, I can't be the only one. Let me create an application that allows people to improve their ability to speak and to present in front of audiences. So he created Speakio. And since creating Speakio, he's been able to leverage Google Gemini, which we'll touch on a little bit later, when it comes to leveraging AI to improve his application. He's created over 200 different work plans and lessons within Speakio using Google AI tool called Gemini. So we want to talk to you a little bit about, hey, Keith, I'm 20-year member. Love that. Yeah, you should definitely reach out to Nico. I think he's one of the folks that would definitely love to talk to you about. Maybe you could leverage that app within Toastmasters, I would love to see a co-branding situation there where it allows you to connect. Okay, so that's one application, but the other application is predicting your favorite new shows and videos. How many of us binge watch shows and then we get recommendations on different streaming channels on like what's the next thing you might like? I am an absolute fanatic when it comes to YouTube. I absolutely love YouTube. So I'm always on YouTube. I'm always seeing the latest highlights when it comes to sports. I'm always DIYing something like I don't know how to do this. Let me go on YouTube. So this particular application of AI allows us to provide guided predictive analytics so that you can get the best recommended content at your fingertips. So as you start thinking about how you can apply business AI to your business, I want you to start thinking about real life examples that are already using AI, like the streaming services, like creating lesson plans on applications, or using Google Maps when you're trying to find the direction, real-time information that tells you the projection amount of time it takes you to get from point A to point B. So what AI also allows you to do is accelerate your learning and improve your productivity. And that is because it allows you to leverage machine learning. And we'll talk about machine learning, we'll talk about language models, we'll talk about large language models, and then we'll talk about generative AI. There's like the four rungs, if you will, of AI. That's exactly right, Cynthia. Cynthia asked, is the application called Speakeo, Speeko? That's what it is. If you guys ever want to learn how to improve your speaking, you have really good gamified applications that allow you to do that. Okay, so as we're starting to think, the productivity, Google has created different type of productivity tools within their suite of services when it comes to AI to improve your productivity as a small business owner. We're going to touch on that a little bit later. We're going to talk a little bit about how you can use certain platforms like Workspace, Google Workspace, when it comes to Google Slides, Google Docs, and Google Sheets. I am a big fan of the Google Drive. Most of us have Google Drive just by having a Gmail account. We also are starting to see Google improve the productivity when it comes to email marketing and emails. For those of us who use Gmail, predictive ads when it comes to their large language models when we're typing a draft email. And on the right-hand side, you'll see the ability to be able to predict the next set of words. And we'll talk a little bit about predictive analytics and language models and how that works as well, so that you can start thinking about different applications that you can leverage for your business. Okay, now we understand that there might be a lot of trepidation when it comes to leveraging AI tools and the idea of AI, but the truth is, it's not that AI is a threat to your business, is that businesses, small and medium-sized businesses, are leveraging AI to grow their business, to accelerate their business, to advance their business. And so what we're saying is we have to really do a great job as Google to make this equitable for all businesses, not just the ones that have resources. And the way we go about doing this is by allowing and investing heavily into the development of AI tools that are equitable and accessible for all small businesses. So about 7 years ago, Google decided to make a large transition from their general line of business into AI in a responsible manner so that you as a small business owner can compete against anyone that's leveraging AI. And so this really speaks to the idea and the philosophy and the ethos of Google when it comes to making it equitable for everyone. And what we did in the recent study was we learned that a lot of people are already adopting and leveraging AI. How many of us already, press one if you guys are already using AI in some capacity, either through Canva or Google Slides or Google Docs? Most of us are already leveraging the heck out of this. And so what you want to think about is, yes, we understand that it could be a threat to your business, but not because AI in itself, but because prospective customers and businesses that you are directly competing with are already leveraging AI. So Google decided to create a tool that allows you as a business owner to be able to adapt and leverage in a very timely fashion so that you can catch that wave. And so I want to talk a little bit and show you a great video of Cece from New Mexico. And I am going to turn that on.
We're very vibrant and colorful people. I wanted to bring that into my beauty brand. Turquoise and your yellows and your reds and your dusk sunset, sunrise colors. Growing up Chicana and indigenous culture tradition was the center of everything that we did and we do still to this day. I'm Cece and I'm the founder and CEO of Prados PD. Now she glows to the gods. When I was 27, I went to cosmetology school and I was working backstage at New York Fashion Week. I was in the hub of the makeup world, but no one looked like me. I was tired of being unseen. I have daughters who are also indigenous, and I don't ever want them to feel how I felt in that moment. So I started Prados Beauty in my daughter's nursery. When she would take naps, I would work in there and just start doodling and creating things. But not having a business background, I needed to research and really learn about what I was doing. I started going to the University of Google, as we call it. June of 2019, I launched my website. And then a few years later, I took part in our Grow with Google event. When I first learned about AI, I was like, oh my gosh, like robots are going to take over the world. But this gave me the opportunity to learn about AI, specifically Gemini from Google. I thought this could help my business in a big, big way. So I use Gemini to learn about things like what SEO is and what keywords are important to my brand specifically. But I also use it for creative, fun stuff. Help me write a social media post using this image. Make it fun and trendy. Oh, how cute. Also, things like packaging ideas. I can take those ideas to my team and say, hey, this is an idea, but I want to tweak it a little bit. Something that would take me all day or even 2 days to do, I can do it, in an hour. It's very helpful for me and my business. Hi, I'm Cece Meadows, and I'm going to be doing a orange minimalistic look. For me, makeup is more than just something that you put on your face. I take this pretty light blue. It allows the world to see you how you want to be seen. And forget the lip gloss. I always give credit to my Prados. I love them. To create something that helps someone feel and look beautiful. It's not just an honor for me to be able to do it, but to do it in a way that pays homage and respect to those that came before me. I think that is a big driver of why Prados has been successful in this space.
It kind of pulled at your heartstrings, right? Her amazing journey, and she kind of buried the lead because I'll talk a little bit about her experience and her journey a little bit later. It's amazing what she's been able to do in such a short time. So we're going to talk a little bit about how AI can help your business. More importantly, how you can leverage some of these productivity tools like CC to create content, to turn around, create scripts. And then we're going to talk about some of Google productivity tools like Google Sheets, Google Docs, Gmail, and how those can help you improve your ability to scale your business and grow your business. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what AI is and what AI isn't. So let's talk about what AI is and the definition as Google perceives it to be, which is AI describes a computer. Describes computer programs that could create cognitive tasks that are attributed to human intelligence. So that's a mouthful. Let's break it down into pieces. AI are computer programs that could complete cognitive tasks that are typically associated with human intelligence. So that's the basic premise of what AI is. Now, there's different types of AI. About 7-10 years ago, folks were using AI and they created rule-based AI tools where you provided them a certain pieces of information or rules that they had to follow. And so the way you could think about this rule-based, or what I call like a logic tree-based AI, is that you told them, if these words are contained within this email, I want you to block that email. So in that sense, it was very prescriptive, using specific keywords and key phrases and rules that you created within the AI, and then you send them the information. It'll scan the content in that the copy in that email or in that big data set, and then we'll say, does this data set contain these words and these phrases? If it does, let's reject it. If it doesn't, let it come through. there's other ways that we've leveraged that type of AI tool. Think about your banking and the mobile banking solutions that you've used in the past. I absolutely love mobile banking, and I hate waiting in line. It's one of the things that I can honestly say I strongly dislike. And now I don't have to wait in line forever. I could just grab this, take a picture. But banks also use AI because when they see behavior analytics or behavior insights where you are depositing a check at 2 o'clock in the morning or accessing your account at 4 o'clock in the morning, one of the things that rule-based AI can be used for is like if the customer is depositing a check at 3 o'clock and has never done it, I want you to hold that check. Do not deposit that check. That's an example of rule-based AI. But as it got more sophisticated, and that is to say, as we grew and progressed from this rule-based AI to machine learning, we were able to provide a little bit more broader reach and give it more data. So what is machine learning? Machine learning is when you train the AI system with a data set. And so as you're giving it data, it's able to create more complex tools and solutions. And so you're educating it with data that you're giving it. And the more data you give it, the better it is at being able to provide you the type of results that you're looking for when it comes to the type of output that you want. So we're moving away from rule-based, follow these logic tree. If this happens, do A. If this happens, to B. If this happens, to do C. Now we're giving it information and saying, interpret that information. Interpret to see if these emails are safer. Now it's not rule-based, saying if you have these words. Now it's more of read through that specific email. Once you identify that email and understand it, make sure you filter it out. And so sometimes within our email page, we might have different tabs on the very top, one's for promotions, one's for urgent, one's for family. And this is Google interpreting the data that's coming in. As we move from that, then we go from machine learning to machine learning language models. And the language model just means that now you're telling the machine to interpret and identify different frames of words and different patterns of words to come out with the logical next conclusion. And so an example of this is you could train the AI tool on a ton of content and a ton of copy so that when you type in peanut butter and the next word, it can start predicting and say jelly. You can see how this is applied to our Gmail email campaign. If you have an email and you're typing, Google's learning that predictive model and saying, if you type in thank, what's the next word in the sentence? You. So I'll say, are you looking for this? The word you. When you type in, I have a joke when folks like fish and the next word is chips. For those folks who are Latino, I love saying the example of like arroz con, and depending what part of Latin America you're from, some people say pollo, some people say leche, some people say tostones. It just depends how you're training the large language model. What's really funny is, regardless of what part of Latin America you are from, most people will get the next example, which is if you're training a large language model and you're going to predict the next word of this phrase, what do you think it would be? Pa arriba, pa abajo, pa'l centro, y pa dentro. So it just depends how you're training that specific tool and the type of data that you're giving it so it can learn. Now, these large language models are consuming thousands of pieces of information. But the large language models are consuming billions of pieces of data points and billions of pieces of content. And the more you train that large language model, the more it can improve the prediction of the next word. This is used for all kinds of things like translations, cognitive tasks, like content creation. Like you might want to create different images. And so start identifying these large language models and identifying what's the next sequence of these words that you can identify to improve your ability to improve on the design of the AI tool. So those are the top 3 formats. Now, the final version of this, if you will, there's multiple types of AI, but as you're building these AI models out, or as Google's building these AI models out, then you get to what's called Gen AI or generative AI. And that's what you have with Gemini. That's what you have with the other platform. I know that Cynthia mentioned the platform that she's been using is something GPT. I'm not going to mention its name, but that large language model allows you to start creating images, videos, and audio, and it's only limited by your imagination. So you're providing it information, you're providing it text, and you're providing it guidance. You're saying, I want you to understand this type of text. I want you to understand that I want you to create, Monday night coffee at the beach. And you're giving it that context. It's consumed a bunch of copy and images that represent coffee, that represent the beach, that represent nighttime, and it's going to generate that particular image according to what it feels through consuming millions and millions, sometimes billions of different pieces of content to replicate the model that it thinks that you want. So now you're only hamstrung by your imagination. Anything you can think, you can create with generative AI. And then Google, using this generative AI tool, created amazing applications that we're already using. Voice Assistant, how many of us saw CC use Voice Assistant and was able to talk into her phone and create whatever the AI tool wanted? Like, hey, I want you to create this type of color pattern, recommendations for when we go on YouTube. My favorite by far is chat boxes, because if you have a company that gets a lot of traffic to the website, when you talk to people, you usually get 5 to 7 questions that you hear over again and again and again. What's really cool about the AI chat boxes that are out there is that it's able to identify what the next question in the sequence would be and respond in kind. The more questions the chat box receives, you're literally training that chat box to understand what's the answer to that question, or what are the most typical questions, and guide the response to your customer base. And again, you're basically training that chat box AI to respond to the customer needs that you're getting most of the time. And that's the power of something like generative AI. It's learning in real time, and it's able to cut across multiple types of mediums, including copy, images, and voice. Okay. Any questions so far? So I'd like to say, like, this is changing very rapidly. Every week, every month, every day, it feels like the new tools coming out, because as we're training these models can help you be a little bit more productive. Yes, Keith, you have a question?
Yes, about the chatbots, I'm glad you brought that up, because quite frankly, most of the ones that I've been engaging with, certainly over the last couple of years, have been horrible. And I know there's better technology out there and better training, but a lot of them at my bank at Verizon, it just makes it a difficult engagement, and I very rarely get to the endpoint that I'm trying to get to without going to a person. So what is Google's strategy to, I don't know, because I bet I guess it's up to the owner to ensure that they are properly trained so they can be as effective as possible for the business.
I love that question. And what you start seeing with the chat box, I can't speak in absolutes, but what I will tell you is that the more data points the chat box gets, the better able it's going to be able to assist you. I would love for us to take a snapshot of this conversation and fast forward a year from now, and then you play with that chat box again and see where we're at. Because what ends up happening is, as it receives more and more questions, it'll filter out your questions into the right individual. And sometimes it'll just connect you directly. Hey, we cannot help you. Let's get you to a live representative. And what ends up happening is, we don't see it from our end, but what we do see is that the time to get to your answer shrinks. So while this seems tedious and talking to the chat box seems tedious, the turnaround time of you getting to a customer representative, a human being, and then him or her having the answer for you is shrinking in real time. So that's a byproduct of something like an AI tool. As it's learning and it's realizing what your concern is, it might not be able to give you the specific answer, but the human that you're interacting with has more data points to be able to make your experience a little bit more seamless and time sensitive. So that's the power, because at the end of the day, the information has to be interpreted. But I love that question, because I feel the same way. Sometimes like, oh, this is great, but it's not answering the question I want. But when I get to the customer rep, it used to take 5 minutes, now it takes 2 minutes, or it used to take 15 minutes, now it takes 5 minutes. So that's a really cool byproduct of how we are living with AI tools that are making us a little bit more productive. So let's talk a little bit about that. And let's talk a little bit about how you can leverage some of these AI tools. And I'm going to go back to CC. And she founded her company. She's using the heck out of AI. She started like every small business with this idea. And I mentioned a little bit earlier, she was filling a gap. It's always important as a business owner to understand where the slack in the market is and where you can interject yourself and find a niche to grow your business. And what ended up happening to Cece is that she ended up getting sick and she ended up having cancer and going through chemotherapy. And as she's going through this experience, she's a beauty artist and she lives this truth, and she's realizing no one has created makeup or makeup extensions and accessories for folks who are going through chemo. So she decided to be that voice in her community, create Prada's Beauty, and respond to that niche in the market that she feels is being underserved, like herself. There's no one that's creating the type of makeup, the type of accessories that we need to maintain our humanity through this very difficult time. And so she empathized, understood, and created, and has flourished since then, has leveraged the heck out of AI to not just be online, but also have a brick and mortar store and be able to sell in third-party locations, including third-party marketplaces. And so if you're ever in New Mexico and you want to go check her out in Albuquerque, I definitely recommend you go visit her. But she learned, how do I multiply my efforts? Well, I'm leveraging AI to be able to increase my ability to communicate. So let's jump start and let's help yourself and let's help Cece as we're building out this capacity. I want you to do a quick search for you and see how you can help your own business using AI. So let's start with an AI quick search. I want you to go and I want you to grab your phone, or if you want, go on your laptop, and I want you to start typing in new ideas for your business. I want you to type in, what is, depending, some of you are consultants, some of you are consultants for manufacturing, for safety, some of you guys are insurance brokers. And so I want you to type in there and type a solution that you want to solve for your industry or your sector. For those of us who might not have a business just yet, I want you to help out Cece. And I want you to say, okay, what would Cece need right now? Maybe she's thinking about trends in fall 2024. What are the latest beauty trends in 2024? So I want you to take this moment and go through this exercise and type in the Google search engine, ways that you can help your business by asking Google search a question. And I'll give you guys a few seconds as you're doing this. And here's the beauty, Google search has been around for 25 years, but now Google's incorporating AI into your Google search. And I'm going to break down what generative AI looks like and how Google's using Google Gemini, its generative AI tool, to provide you better solutions. So as you're searching for these questions and asking these questions to the Google search, realize that in the back of Google search, there's AI running already. Okay, so we're using Google, we're leveraging the heck out of it, and we know that Google's using Google AI. And some of us, as we're doing this exercise, are going to see AI overviews. How many of us saw that when we're using our Google search and we use this AI overview? Did anyone express one if you guys experienced that and something popped up? Press 2 if you did not see that happen when you were using the tool. All right, some of us experienced that. Yeah, perfect. So what Google's doing there is using generative AIs, their generative AI, which is called Google Gemini, to scrape the information from the internet, give you what it thinks is the question at the easiest, fastest way, so you can consume that information at the very top. And it's very helpful to determine what is needed for you and respond for you in a very quick and easy way. If you want to see the data points, it even hyperlinks to different websites that it pulled that information from. And that way you have a better sense of your answer. If you want a better answer or clarifying answer, you can actually ask another question. We also have this amazing tool called Google Labs. And if you want to go and learn how Google taught its AI tool, you can sign up to be one of its users to leverage the latest and greatest Google tools and services using AI. So it trained its AI generative model with over 1 billion hours with a B for the past 7 years to give you guys the best results possible. And it did that by leveraging some of its AI functionality. And it publicly launched this particular tool in May of 2024. And as it started developing all these materials, Google decided to create its own feedback mechanism. It's called by Google developers, and it's called Search Generative Experience. Big words. All it means is that it's teaching the AI tool to provide the best experience for you. And if you want to learn more about how Google trains its AI models, and you want to learn how it has different models right now for creative images, for videos, and for audio, go to g.co/labs to get a firsthand look into our AI model. So we did the Google search. We talked about our industry. That's what came up. We're not going to dwell on this. Now we want to brainstorm ideas. Okay, so now we want to take one step further, and we want to start thinking about how we can make our business more productive. And what I want you to do is I want you to share in the chat when you did that Google search, what came up for your industry or what came up for your sector to help improve your specific business. So for example, if you want, you can talk about how when you did that Google search, it talked about Google Trends within your industry and how you can improve your marketplace. But what I want you to do now is I want you to go over to our version of generative AI, which is Gemini. And I want you to open up the page of Gemini so that you can try this exercise by yourself. And what that looks like is you're going to go to google.com and you're going to type in Google Gemini. And you're going to go to that specific link. They're going to ask you to approve. If you haven't logged in ever before to Gemini, they're going to a waiver of saying, hey, by the way, you will be using Google Gemini, which is a generative AI tool. And keep in mind that this information is private. It's connected to your email address, and we're not training the model of Gemini AI with your data. So it's your specific data. So no one can share it out except you. But we're going to give you results from that. So now I want you to go to Google Gemini, open that page up, and ask it a question. And so Google Gemini was introduced back in December of 2023. And what I want you to think about when you think about Google Gemini, it's not one AI tool, but it's a series of different type of AI tools brought together to create an AI ecosystem that Google has to create the best AI experience for you as a small business. And the way you could think about it is it integrates all different types of AI tools, including video AI tools, copy AI tools, and audio AI tools in one place. And so as you're playing with this particular Gemini tool, I want you to ask it a question that has to do with what's going on within your marketplace or your industry. Now, really important piece here is how we create that question, how we format that question. And for those of us who are geeking out on AI, this is something that's called prompt engineering. But what I want you to think about is think about AI as a human being and ask it a question as if you would ask someone else a question. Let's say you have an assistant or a marketing associate that has come on and you're telling it you want, or a business industry intelligence insider, and you're going to ask it a question. First, you're going to tell it what it is. So you're going to tell the Gemini tool, you are a marketing specialist, you are a accountant, you are a financial advisor, you are a videographer, whatever it happens to be. Keith, great question. I'll answer that in a few seconds. So first thing is the persona. The second thing is the task that you want this persona. So an accountant, I want you to talk about the 5 best accounting tools available for a small business. So I gave it the task and I gave it the audience. Who am I looking for? Small business. The context is give me 5 perspective tools that allow me to leverage the best apps for accountants. And then the frame is the accountant or the way you want that information provided for you in bullet point format, in paragraph format, and what have you. Keith asked, he's asking me to sign up to Google Workspace. Now, Google Workspace is our suite of services where you can have your email, your workspace all in one place. It usually costs $14 a user. On top of that, you can pay for the premium product of Gemini if you want to pay for its version, the paid version, and that's also about $14, but you don't have to. It's completely free for users. You don't have to pay that cost. It's only if you want to integrate Gemini with all your suite of services within the workspace. That's a great question, Keith. You don't have to do that though. So for those of us who are using this, think through that, think about the framework. and what you want them to do, and then ask Gemini a question about your industry. So for example, I'm a marketer. I might say, what are the top 5 trends? Let's just do that. We're here now. Let's actually open up a tab. I'm gonna go to Gemini and I'm gonna ask it a question. You are a marketing expert. What are the top 5 marketing trends for the US in the fall of 2024? And now it's going to answer that question. So, surprise, surprise, AI. But this is interesting. Zero-click content. I never heard of this. Have you guys heard of zero-click content? I have not. Zero-click content is, so there you go. So it keeps folks on the platform as opposed to pushing them off. Short form videos, that makes perfect sense. Community and connection, the metaverse, cookieless future, and first party data. Ooh, very cool stuff. Okay, so you could reframe the question and ask a clarifying question. So just like that marketing associate that we just talked about, sometimes I need a little bit more clarifying questions. So as we're developing those clarifying questions, we want to make sure we're asking it questions so that could improve the response that you want. So your initial prompt, you see the response, and you might revise the question to get you the best answer that you're looking for. And so you're literally having a dialogue with that AI Gemini tool to improve on the response that you want. There's a lot of functionality here. So what's really important to note is, remember I mentioned a little bit earlier, depending on what kind of data you're giving it, it's going to respond in kind. You don't want to give it false information. You don't want to lie to it, because then it's not going to be able to respond to you with factual information. It's going to give you a wonky response. So good data in, good data out, good question in, good question out. You do not want to lie to the specific AI tool so that could give you the best answer. All right. So that's one quick way of doing this. We kind of went through this exercise already, and I want you to make sure as you're answering these questions, I want you to think about, did I provide a bias? Was I factual in these questions? Can I better improve the question that I'm asking it using those 5-point structure that I outlined here? The persona, the task, the audience, the context, and the frame. Great way to be a great what's called prompt engineering. And then what I would recommend you do, this is the blueprint framework of how you talk to a generative AI tool. When you're talking to your other AI tools like Canva, you want to definitely leverage this way of writing your prompts. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about productivity tools. I am going to go a little bit faster because we're almost at time. I tend to geek out on this type of solution, and that video took a little bit longer than expected. But we talked about Smart Compose, which just means it starts predicting what you're writing before you actually write it, which is exactly what we love to see. It's predicting what's going on. And there's also what's called Smart Compose personalization. And that means it could change once you write the email. You might, I want it more formal, I want it more informal, I want it more firm, I want it more relaxed. And they'll change the way that email is written to make it more formal, whatever way you want to interpret, communicate it. Let's say I'm talking to Olivia, she's one of my good friends. I want this email to be less formal, more informal, and they'll have that option to click on it to make it more informal. We also have, and we talked about Smart Reply. Let's say you're like covered in thousands of emails and you're going through it. Sometimes it'll read the email and it'll say, hey, here's a quick response that you can have. Quick reply would allow you to reply quickly to your prospective customer. We also have other features. Tabbed inboxes means that when you get the email coming in, it'll segment the email according to what it thinks is relevant. So it might say, this is for your primary, promotion, social. What I love is summary cards. Anytime you're traveling, you book the flight, you book the hotel, I'll have that vital information at the very top of your inbox. And then nudges. Sometimes over the weekend, we get bombarded by emails, or we shot out an email on Thursday of last week and we forget about it, and it's Tuesday of the following week, and Google will have a little notification that said, hey, you kind of didn't close the loop here. This was sent 7 days ago. Would you like to close the loop? That's called a nudge. So that's all the cool tools that you can use for Google Gmail. We're going to talk a little bit about Google Gemini in Docs, Sheets, and Slides to improve your marketing. So for those of us who are using Google Ads, how many of you used Google Ads before? We saw within Google Ads, what Gemini allows you to do is sometimes it'll allow you to, it writes the actual description of your ad, or it'll recommend certain keywords, or it'll pull from your website images on your website and say, would you like to use these images for your Google Ads? We also have something called Google Performance Max, which is a Google Ads tool that allows you to be able to leverage the heck out of all the different channels that Google has. So not just display, which is websites, text message, applications like third-party apps, email marketing, and search. So this allows you to be able to run ads across all the different mediums that Google owns, all the different Google channels. And we've seen that folks that leverage this particular tool when it comes to Google Ads have increased leads and or sales by up to 27%. So what Google calls conversion or value. So that means that you're more likely to reach a broader audience using Performance Max. And this is also powered by AI because it's picking up on habits that people are having and identifying those ads according to the best possible way to get the prospective customer to convert. For those of us who have products, we could go to the Google Merchant Center, and the Google Merchant Center is a great product tool that anyone that has products that wants to sell those products can sell it, and it's a free service Google provides. It's called Google Merchant Center. It's completely free. You can upload all your different products on Google Merchant Center at no cost to you. Google now has incorporated generative AI into the production studio so that it could improve your images, improve the images that you do have to make it more engaging and customize those images so it increases conversion. And when it comes to Google Analytics is using machine learning and identifying how many people are coming into your website and then providing you what are called insights. And insights just means like this is something that's outside the norm of your data, and we want you to pay attention to this. For some reason, you got a bunch of traffic on September 11th, and your traffic dropped on September 4th. What did you do on September 11th that drove that traffic? That's going to help you better understand, hey, what did I do right now? Why was there a spike? Did I call? Did I email? Did I do ads? And did those ads actually convert? So Google Analytics is a tool that runs on your website to help you understand the data that's coming into your website, and that's also free. This has no cost to you. All you need to do is integrate Google Analytics to your website. Okay, that was a lot, guys. That was a lot, but we have 2 minutes left. Let me just go really quickly through what we just discussed today. We talked about what artificial intelligence is and how you would describe it as a definition, how Google created AI and invested into AI and pivoted its business model to incorporate AI to make it more responsible for the billions of people who are using AI, and how you as a small business can leverage AI to increase your productivity using Gemini and other productivity tools like Google Slides, Google Sheets, Google Docs, as well as Gmail. We also talked about Google Ads themselves, if you do use Google Ads, and how AI is running, the Gemini tool is running on AI, and how you can use Google Search that's also leveraging Gemini to improve your search queries or your search questions. We have a free course open to anyone that wants to have a baseline on AI. It's called Grow Your Business with AI-Powered Tools by Google. It's in English and in Spanish, and it costs $0 for you guys to learn. It's about 10 hours of learning, and you could get this over within a week, and it just gets you up to speed on where Google views AI, and it shows you the direction that it hopefully is going based on what it's done so far in the marketplace. Whoops. All right, we're almost done. Keep learning. Like I said, there's a free course called Google.com/AI Essentials, and you can learn at no cost on how to improve your productivity. About 10 hours of content there that you consume at your pace at no cost. We also have certifications if you guys want to get upskilled on certain tools. This does have a cost. It's run through Coursera. I've done the project management and the digital marketing one. Highly recommend it if you guys have time. If you want to keep learning at your own pace, highly recommend you go to youtube.grow with Google. And there's a bunch of content there all around different tips and tricks on how to improve your sales online. For more resources, go to google.com/grow. And here is a great slide. I know we recorded this session, but if you just want to take a picture of all the different tools that we talked about today, grab your phone right now and take a quick snapshot. Okay, with that, last plug, I promise. If you want to keep learning about all the different tools that Google has, is rolling out and want to play with them and then incorporate them into your day-to-day business, I would highly recommend you go to aitestkitchen.withgoogle.com to learn about all the different AI creativity tools that we're rolling out in the next couple of days, weeks, months, years. And with that, Olivia and all of you, thank you so much for allowing me to be part of this session. Please leave feedback. Let Google know this is a great session. We need more sessions on AI, or this was terrible, never again. I appreciate you all. Appreciate you, Olivia, and I appreciate the Latino Chamber of Commerce. Thank you guys so much for sticking with me. I know we ran a little bit over, and if you guys have a few seconds, I'll be happy to answer any questions that you guys may have.
I did have one thing. Can we use the chat box in our website? And our website platform is Wild Apricot. So for those who have different platforms or services for a website, you can get a plugin to put Gmail chat box into your website.
There's different types of chat boxes out there that are free. So I would highly recommend, yeah, you can definitely do an integration to make sure that your customers can chat with you in real time. I think we use Tidio, Tidio. That's a free one, but it's entirely up to you, the one that you want to use. That's just the ones that we use.
Okay. Yeah. So that's one of the conversations we've been having at the chamber is, how do we engage more without having to call the office? And so seeing you in Kansas City made me prompt like, hey, we need a chat box on our webpage. So thank you for that. And then I think the nudges is really great because it's reminders, because we're all busy doing a million and a trillion things at one time and then tend to disconnect and then, trying to get back online on a Monday or a Sunday night. These nudges is really valuable because, it brings things back to the forefront. So then we can integrate out a box into the Outlook system, correct?
So what Tidio, I can only speak about Tidio, but that tool connects to your phone and you can set up prompts like the top 5 questions, and or you could go directly to live. So let's say you're walking around in your conference and someone is asking a question on the chat box, it'll send you a ping saying, hey, there's a question. Do you want us to take it as automated or do you want to respond in real time?
Oh, okay. Perfect.
You've had a question.
Yes.
I have one question.
Yes.
Does Google intend to deploy some sort of challenge or some sort of program to pull in the Latino, African American women and other historically underrepresented communities to ensure that we are not left behind this AI blues that's about to take over the world?
Yeah, no, I mean, this is literally the program Grow with Google, and the program, the digital coaches program, is their response before AI happened to respond to that challenge of being where the community's at and speaking with the community and showing them, hey, we care. We'll invest time and energy by having folks like myself and other coaches. We have 18 coaches across the country be here to help you answer questions that you have and provide resources that you guys would like. So that's a direct response to that.
Okay, how do we contact you?
I think it's Roberto Mar, but I think Leobi also put on the chat a link that you can use if you want one-on-one consultation. Google provides us with 2 sessions a month for anyone. It's a group setting, but anyone that wants to join us and ask us questions about the digital marketing tools that Google provides at no cost. It's completely free, and it's about an hour that we come together and we talk about whatever challenges you have when it comes to Google tools.
Mm-hmm.
Is it scheduled for a certain time or are they?
We typically work with the folks who want to be with us. So yeah.
Oh, okay. So I just clicked on the link and we just put in our information.
That's right.
Cool.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you. This was extremely informative.
And well, thank Olivia.
Olivia.
And the
thank you.
chamber.
So the LA Latino Chamber is here to help businesses, we are a Latino business chamber. However, we know that there's needs in the community, and that is the reason why we make our programming available to the community, because we know sometimes there's other organizations that don't have the resources that we do or the connections and the partnerships, right? So, we have a relationship with Roberto, not just, through Google, but through other organizations, and that's what strengthens a bond. And those type of relationships are really invaluable because it allows us to bring programming such as today's session to the forefront and to anyone who needs it. Roberto, I want to thank you for your time and dedication to helping small businesses scale. I want to thank you for your time. We know we're running a little late, so be well and have a great day and be blessed. Thank you.